not that long ago, I was a completely miserable corporate lawyer. And if you had told me then that I would end up running a $900,000 a year calligraphy business, I would have looked at you just like,
what do you mean?
Completely not believing you. Welcome to Creative Business Real Talk. I'm Shinah, founder of Crooked Calligraphy. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you not just how I made that leap, but why you absolutely cannot wait for a perfect plan before you go after your creative dreams, like transform your life. Basically, case in point, I am not in my home studio. I'm actually caretaking at my sister-in-law's house for 2 weeks. The mic that I brought didn't work. So I'm just winging it, recording this on my iPhone with regular old headphones because I am not going to wait for things to be perfect. If you are a perfectionist, overachiever, hopefully by the end of this episode, you will have a new outlook on how to go after your creative dreams, even if you're currently sitting in a glass office that you hate. I know what that feels like. I've been there. So first, how did I get here? I am the last person that you would think would go and have a creative business. I was on such a risk-averse, safe, secure corporate path for most of my life. I mean, straight A's, Ivy League university, top 5 law school, big, corporate law firm. But, after 10 years of being in law, I just had to face the reality that I was not happy. Like, all the security in the world means nothing if my day-to-day life is just boring, somehow also stressful, like daily misery. So I finally quit. I'll tell that story another day, but I had no plan. I basically just kind of explored creatively, really lost, kind of depressed for 2 years, but also trying to see what would spark my interest. But here's where we come to part 2. I found calligraphy. I was doing all this creative exploration. I took a calligraphy workshop, fell in love with the craft. And I talked to a few people and decided, okay, I'm going to start a business with calligraphy. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to make enough money to live well. I might be a starving artist, but I was really passionate about it. So I'm going to give you the timeline of how my calligraphy business evolved. And notice here the lack of a plan and how things just kind of built on the actions that I took. So 2016, I started my business. I sold greeting cards that I printed out in my home office on a Canon printer with like materials I bought on Amazon. I was making maybe $1 profit on each one. I was saying yes to everything. I was kind of putting my calligraphy out on Instagram. I had a starter website. I made 0 profit that year, but I learned so much. 2017, I was starting to figure out, okay, what kinds of jobs I like to do and what kinds of jobs I don't. I was still saying yes to pretty much everything, but that was the year I started teaching calligraphy in person to just like little groups here and there because people asked me to do it. I was also working 2 other like side jobs just to make ends meet. I made maybe 20K profit that year for my calligraphy business. So growth, right? 2018, this is when I launched my first calligraphy online course. And I only did this because I got invited by another company to film a little online calligraphy class. And I realized, oh my God, you can teach online. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna build my own course. Let's see what happens. I was continuing to show up on Instagram every day, build my email list, and I made 6 figures in revenue that year through like the teaching and the launch of the course and all the other calligraphy jobs I was doing. 2019. This is when I kind of started to pivot my business from doing everything to really trying to focus on my one most profitable thing. And I invested a lot of money to be in this program that taught me how to scale my online course, how to market it, sell it, even do, some Facebook ads and hire people. I made over $200,000 in revenue that year and just grew so much in terms of my like marketing and online course knowledge. And then the pandemic hits. So even though it was super uncertain at first, it turned out to be an amazing time for online courses because everybody's at home. They want something to do. Calligraphy, right, is having a moment. So my business went so huge, 2020 and 2021. I was investing in masterminds and programs. I was investing in ads. I was starting to hire employees. I welcomed thousands of students into my programs, really just continuing to grow. In 2020, we made almost $900,000 in revenue. And in 2021, just kind of continuing that trajectory, hiring more people. That was when we made over $900,000 that year in annual revenue. But by 2022, I was feeling pretty burned out. Like, that's a lot of growth to experience in just 2 years. And I had never hired people before. I had never gone through the HR process. I had never dealt with that much outflow in cash towards ads and welcoming this many students and being this visible. So in 2022, I walked away from my calligraphy business I had no idea if I was going to come back. I just knew that I needed rest. And I took almost a year to just rot in bed and binge watch shows. I got married. I made a lot of my wedding calligraphy, right? But that was my year in 2022. So this brings us to the current era, 2023. I did decide to come back to my calligraphy business, but do it in an intentionally different way. So I scaled way down, way fewer employees, way less ad spend. I really wanted to focus on, okay, what is important in my business? What do I enjoy doing? What makes the most impact on people? And that was just continuing to spread the message of invest in your creativity, invest in yourself, like see what could happen. I started teaching calligraphy business. And so far in 2023, 2024, it's been much, much simpler. I have way more just time freedom. We're making less money, but I'm making enough. And it just allows me to do things like be here helping out my sister-in-law. It's kind of an emergency situation, but I'm here for 16 days and I can still work on my business. So in 2023, 2024, we're still, multiple six-figure business, but we're making kind of just enough. And 2025 is looking kind of similar. So this brings us to the lessons from this story. Number one, let's go back to 2016 where I started with greeting cards. I mean, they were sweary greeting cards. They were in calligraphy, but really, I did not start my business thinking, oh my God, I'm going to scale up into an online course creator and have this lifestyle. I just started taking action. I had a lighthouse, but not a step-by-step plan because that was impossible. I had never done business before. I tried to map out, a business plan, but I just didn't have the information and the knowledge to do that. So what I did was, okay, I'm going to try greeting cards. I'm going to try all these different kinds of jobs and figure out what I really like and what I don't. And then I'm just going to learn each step of the way. And you know what? Because I did that, opportunities presented themselves. Like that company reaching out to me where I filmed my first digital online course and realized, oh my God, online courses are a thing, right? And then making my online course and finding a program that would help me scale it and realizing, oh my gosh, there's this whole world here. Now, I couldn't have reached where I am now if I had sat there in 2016 trying to plan out every single step of the way. I promise you, I would still be paralyzed. I wouldn't have started. I maybe would have gone back to law. I would have a completely different life than I do now. So the real talk here is forget the perfect plan. I know, especially if you are anything like me, your brain wants you to have everything figured out before you even take the first step, but you can't. So what I encourage you to do is find a lighthouse instead. Find something that you want to work towards. Maybe it's greeting cards. And as you're moving towards it, you might find that your path goes another way or other opportunities come, and you take that if it feels good to you, if you feel like curious and creative about it, and it will eventually take you somewhere new. But find that lighthouse instead of a perfect plan, and find whatever it takes, the courage to take those first steps on the path. So next episode, I'm going to dive into how I actually made $900,000 in annual revenue in 1 year, something I thought was impossible until I actually did it. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.